Yo, NSA Bulls podcast. We back again for another week of content. Chicago Bulls coming off of back-to-back wins.
Yes, sir.
At home, taking care of business. This is what we like to see as Chicago Bulls fans.
Yep.
Yeah. They took care of the Wizards tonight. Got a dub. 102-82 was the finish. They pulled away in the fourth quarter. I was at that game. It was a good game to see live. And they just, took care of business. I'm just happy to see them trying to get into that playoff hunt. Currently, right now, they're still about a game and a half a game, behind the Wizards right now, even though they just beat the Wizards. But the Wizards are one game less in the loss column. Ultimately, it was just why they up a little bit more in that columm right now. In the 10th seed, we're currently in the 11th seed.
Yep.
So what you feel about the game, bro? How you feel about it?
The game. It was good to see the Bulls take care of business. What was the score of the game last game?
The last game? That was a blowout. That was a blowout. I mean, we ended up winning that game by 44 points.
So it's good. It's good to see the Bulls take care of business the last two games.
Yeah.
It's just a great feeling, man. And the addition of Patrick Beverly, that seems to be really working out, man. The confidence seems like is there for the Bulls. The energy, the competitiveness. So maybe that was a good fit for him and for us to get him on the court with us, because it seemed like it's been a new sense of urgency now. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's a small sample size, but ultimately he's heading in the right direction. This team is already loaded with talent, or not saying the most talent in the league, or in the top 1% of the league or whatever in terms of talent, but ultimately we don't lack in that department. We just lack in cohesiveness, and we lack in execution, and we lack in discipline. So it's just good to see having a guy like him come on our team, being a veteran that he is, and the tenacity that he brings in that Chicago grit. That grit is real. I mean, what Chicago is known for, he embodies that ultimately, and just doing whatever it takes to win a game. Tonight he didn't really play, in terms of like on a stat level, but he's not measured by stats. He's measured by impact. So he's our Draymond Green. He's our Marcus Smart. That's what we need him for this particular team, and that's what's going to get our engine revving up. And DeRozan and Levine, they had a good game tonight. We've seen that between these two guys this season. Over 50% shooting for both of them. 29 by DeRozan, 27 by Levine, double by Vooch. The stats were there. But even though Wizards made it a game, and then ultimately in the fourth quarter the Bulls decided to pull away. But Kobe White, I felt like he was an X factor. 17 points by him tonight. He played pretty well, and ultimately, we just came up with the game. There was some underperforming by Donsumu. He didn't play too well, nor did Patrick Williams play well. Patrick had like 5 points, and over 20 minutes of play, and then Donsumu had no points at all in 22 minutes of play, and only had 1 assist, no rebounds. So he wasn't really existing out there. I feel like our team also needs to be more take away from the game. Let me just put it this way: how I look at it is like the Bulls need to. They get into these ruts also where they overpass. When I was at the game, I saw them passing up key drives to the lane, like open drives to the lane to get a wide open jump shot, all to miss it, right? Because we're not a really good jump shooting team. I think we're about middle of the pack, like about an average team. We're not like knockdown shooter level. We got a couple guys that can hit some threes, but we're not like a team where people should really fear us behind the arc, really.
Yeah, I think what the Bulls is, we have a good 3-point shooting percentage, but we just don't take a lot of threes. It's probably not on the minds of our opponents.
That's a good point, because DeRozan, he not taking them. And Levine, he going to take probably like 3 or 4 a game.
He takes like 6 threes a game.
Oh, yeah, good. I'm glad. Thanks for looking that up, man. So 6 threes a game. He can hit them. He's a good catch and shoot 3-point shooter. Sometimes he get a little erratic with like some, shots that he take. But ultimately, I feel like Patrick Williams is one of our better shooters behind 3. Vooch is a good 3-point shooter. But overall,
we don't really have that many guys.
Exactly. But we really
Kobe White.
Kobe White can hit a three. He's more streaky though.
Yeah,
he's more streaky, but he can hit the three. Yeah. But the thing though is that I feel like with our team, there are looks that Io got. He couldn't convert on them. And I mean, you get those nights where it's like, you can't hit the shots. But ultimately, like for the season, I would like to see him for the next season.
Work on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the type of person he is and the way he seems to be, I think he will. I think he'll be working on that. He'll probably look back on film or whatever it may be. Because at least he's trying the shots. He's not scared to take the shots.
True.
So in his mind, hopefully he just wants to get better and works towards it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Io, we got our hopes for you, man. I mean, we know we can give a lot to us for the remainder of the season and going into next season. But just getting those open jump shots, convert a little bit more on those. Him and Caruso.
Yeah.
We could get them to hit some of those shots a little bit more than what they've been doing. Yeah. Then that can really take us off.
It seemed like Caruso was playing a little better today against the Wizards.
Yeah, he did. Initially, I didn't know if he was going to stay in the game or I didn't know how his health was, but
I really like him and Patrick. What's his name? Beverly. Patrick Beverly.
Yeah.
Wait, we have two. Where's two?
We got Patrick Williams. We got Patrick Beverly.
Okay, right. Okay, that's why I was confused. So Patrick Beverly and Caruso. It's good seeing them on the court together.
Yeah.
Defensively.
Yes.
Because they're like both like super aggressive and active, and then like vocal, taking charges, and just all in each other's faces. Yeah. So it's like it's good to see.
Yeah, they definitely can energize each other.
Yeah.
And that's really what we need. We need to. Caruso has too much of the load in terms of defense that he has to bring, and then he has no energy to bring on the offensive end, or lack there is. Yeah. So having a guy like Patrick Beverly is also helping that department as well. In terms of coming off screens, talking on defense. I saw a lot of that. Yeah. In terms of Patrick Beverly just bringing the guys together in the huddle and saying, "Hey, this is what we need to do." That kind of thing. I saw like a lot of that leadership. That we know he can
because
bring.
It was probably pretty silent during those timeouts in the huddle before, like, because Zach and DeMar, they weren't really vocal. So having Patrick Beverly, he's definitely a vocal guy. So that's why I'm really just excited about that. Like this is like, wow, this is great to see because it's like perfect. It's like exactly what we needed. We didn't really need much talent, but we just needed somebody that can just pull everybody together and call each other out, but in a respectable way, in a way that just energizes the team.
Yeah. So collectively, which is crazy, the last two wins that the Bulls have had has been by a combined 64 points. Yeah. So the Bulls are blowing guys out. I mean, this one didn't feel like much of a blowout into the latter part of the game, but they're taking care of business. And one thing I did saw as a key takeaway as well, Billy Donovan is putting Patrick Beverly in the game late in the fourth quarter in terms of initiating the offense. He's taking the ball out of Levine and DeRozan's hand in terms of just coming up the court, and I like that. Okay. Because even though Patrick Beverly is known as a guy that can create like a lot of assists, or he's like the ultimate playmaker, that's not his role. What he's not going to do is he's not going to make a lot of mistakes. Yeah. And that's what you need. You need somebody that can mitigate turnovers and mitigate bad decision making. Yeah. And even though Patrick Beverly's not going to get you 8 to 10, 11, 12 assists, he can manage the game. He's a good game manager.
Yeah.
And
that's recognize those moments where to slow the ball up, maybe pick the pace up, put people in positions.
Exactly. These are things that Io haven't.
Win the game.
Exactly. And these are things that Io is obviously going to learn. He's only his second year in the league. But when you compare it to Patrick Beverly, I mean, this is exactly what we need.
Guy that's been doing this, for a while. Playoff experience, play with a lot of great players. So,
yep, valid point. Been in playoff games, playoff battles, and he knows exactly what it takes to be.
I think it's a great fit. I think this is even better than getting Russell Westbrook. I think this piece is better, like a better fit.
Absolutely. And I was on board to get Russell.
I was too.
But this was before I realized getting Patrick Beverly. Yeah. And then obviously the Russell thing, he went to the Clippers. Yeah. And once we got Patrick Beverly, I was in high hopes about it just because I just know what kind of guy he is. So this is exactly what we need going into the second half of the season. Next game we got Toronto in Toronto. Yep. And we'll see how they can turn out that if they can make it a three in a row. But that'll be nice to see that. But I mean, they just keep this intensity up. we'll be in every ball game, and it's just a matter of mitigating turnovers, mitigating a lot of mistakes. One other thing too is I noticed the Bulls still struggle with is that they will have moments where certain plays they run back to back work perfectly. And then they go away from the play the third time of the court. So I saw, like, when I was at the game, that DeRozan drove and dumped the ball right to Vooch. Like, I mean, he's right at the rim. And this is like automatic bucket, right? They did it 2 times in a row. The next time on the court, they tried to sling it around for a 3-point shot. It didn't work. And I'm of the motto, and obviously I'm just a spectator, but I'm of the motto is make them do something about your first option first. If the teams don't do anything about their first option, you just keep running the same thing.
I think that's the way of Kobe Bryant, right?
Yeah.
Didn't he say something like that?
He probably did.
He said something like on get so good at one thing where you become predictable and you become great at being particular in that move that you have to do something else and throw off the defense. It was something like that. I'm gonna get the quote, but yeah, that's some Kobe mentality.
Stuff. Yeah, but and that's true. So many times I feel like players and coaches overthink a situation. If this play is working, make them do something about it. Yeah. If they're not gonna do anything about it, then keep running the play. Yeah. And that's. I mean, when Vooch was cutting to the hole, and DeRozan was just going in the lane, and he get the clear look at the lane, and he could just drop that ball off to Vooch. I mean, Vooch is right at the rim, 7 feet tall. There's not much you really can do about it. There's not much you really can do about it. I know you can't run the same play every single time, but I saw that the Bulls would just get away from certain plays that actually worked. And then they find a way. Then they find themselves back. So it's like they're trying to mix everything in. And there's nothing wrong with that, but that would be my takeaway from today's game. Just keep going with what works. If it works, just keep using it. But just the knockdown shooting has to be there too. We got to get better at that. But ultimately, very happy with today's game. Very happy with the results. And looking forward to that game on Tuesday.
Yep. So Tuesday, the Raptors away game, and then we have the Pistons, and then we have the Suns. I wonder if KD is going to be back around that time.
I think he will, because they are saying he is projected to be back by March 1st.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they play the Suns on the 3rd.
Okay. Speaking of the Suns, they just played Milwaukee today as well.
Okay, and lost.
Yep, and they lost their game. It was a pretty nail biter, but they lost. So KD wasn't playing, and Giannis wasn't playing.
So what does that say? Yeah. So since Giannis and KD didn't play, and the Bucks still won that game, what do you kind of pull from that game?
I mean, I feel like the role players, which is, my take on it is in that particular game, Milwaukee is a more cohesive team. They're used to playing. With or without, not without Giannis, because obviously Giannis don't miss a lot of games, but they already have a chemistry built.
Like a system already in place.
Yeah, they have a chemistry built. So the Phoenix has their work cut out for them, but it's not like people are going to give them slack because they got a lot of talent. So now they got Devin Booker, they got DeAndre Ayton, they got Chris Paul, and now they got Kevin Durant all on the same team, and they just merged the team together in half of a season, and people are still expecting to get to the finals.
I ain't going to lie, Chris Paul looking old out there.
Yeah.
He
is. I mean, the young guns, man, the way the game is played now, the pace, it's hard to keep up with. But here's the thing, though. This is his best chance to win a championship. And
this is his best chance.
And if I'm the coach, if I'm, Monty Williams or whatever, I'm basically, it's what, 20 games left in the regular season? I would probably lock Chris Paul down into the playoffs. It sounds very counterproductive to what I normally preach. I hate load management, I hate all this. But given Chris Paul always gets hurt at the wrong time. He always gets hurt at the wrong time, or he not hurt, he just can't get you over the hump. So if I'm a coach, I'm gonna be like, listen, our team's already getting to the playoffs. I'm gonna just make sure you good.
Do you think teams still practice?
Not really as much.
Or do you think they just go to the game?
I think it's more like incidental basketball. I feel like You know, when we was growing up, obviously we can't compare ourselves to pros, but the energy of what we saw pros and hearing about it was they ran real plays. It don't seem like a lot of real plays. It seems like a lot of like sets, and then they just do like a lot of motion between it. That's what I feel like.
Okay.
You know?
So they're probably like just general sets that all NBA team know. And then you just add a little freestyle.
Exactly. I think it's freestyle. I think they tailor it based on the talent they have. Because it's actually smart if you think about it. You make plays based on your talent level. Right? You build from there. Because if you try to like make a system and then you ain't got the talent, or you could be straight jacketing the talent. So if the talent can do X, Y, and Z, but it's like you making that player do this, that they're not able to showcase what they're capable of doing. So
so do you think that certain teams would be more successful in the playoffs and working towards a championship if they practice more?
Yeah, I think if they practice more scenarios and
because I think the Suns are a perfect example of that, because I feel like if they practice and they work together and they practice together and they learn each other and they learn the plays, that virtually they can be unstoppable, right? But great teams that have great players don't always win because they don't have that togetherness, right? And that's sometimes like the only factor. It's like you just can't play together, but you got the pieces. So I feel like they need to practice.
Yeah.
No, they need to practice, especially if Chris Paul wants to win. Like you said, this is going to probably be one of his last opportunities to win a championship. I saw the game today. He was looking slow out there. He was, missing shots. Everybody have bad games, but it's, just being realistic. You Chris Paul, you 8 years old. You know what I mean? You don't really look in shape, to be honest. It's like, bro, if you win a championship, you're going to have to put the work in. But I mean, who's to say? I mean, these guys, he's probably busy with State Farm commercials to be even practicing and shit.
No, you're making a valid point. Well, there's been some times he's had an opportunity and it got squandered, whether it been by injury or he just couldn't answer the bell. Yeah. But I think most people in the league want to see him win a championship. But my thing is, he got to go get it. Yeah. He got to go get it because ain't nobody going to give it to him. I mean, that Western Conference is loaded, at his position alone. I mean, you're going to have to go through the Lucas of the world, Kyries of the world. These are just guards. These are guys that's going to cause a problem. The Damian Lillards of the world, if his team can make the playoffs. It's just going to be tough. But ultimately, Phoenix has the talent, like we're saying, and it's just a matter of the cohesiveness, and Kevin Durant is expected to be back March 1st, so we'll see how that all turn out, and it's going to probably be about 15 games before they can kind of get a feel for something. So, but I still don't think they're going to win this year.
Yeah, realistically, they probably can't win this year.
I don't think they will. I don't think you can add a piece like Kevin Durant halfway through the season and say, all right, now if it was a role player, I think you could do it. Like how we got Patrick Beverly. You add a guy like Patrick Beverly to your team who isn't taking the ball a lot, who isn't gonna create a lot of niches where he has to get the ball.
But did you think the Suns were in a position to go to the championship this year before Kevin Durant?
I thought they was in a position to be in the second round.
So they weren't really a championship team. You didn't think?
No.
So adding KD makes them a championship team, right?
It can, but the thing is that they don't have enough time left in the season to do what these other teams like Sacramento.
So you write it completely off that the Suns can win a championship this year?
I mean, you can never write anything off with that talent, but I just don't believe it. I don't believe that you can get a piece like that. The only time it's been similarly done was with the Detroit Pistons with Rasheed Wallace. He got acquiesced to the team midway through that 2004 season. They added him, but again, even for a guy like him, he's not taking the ball out of what they used to do. They already had a system in place, and then he was already okay with running that set. You know what I'm saying? And then, they're going to do some stuff that tailored to your skill set. But in today's game, a guy like Kevin Durant, he's going to want to walk the ball to the court.
He gonna want to average 30.
Exactly. He gonna want to have his points.
He gonna average 30.
Yeah.
25, 44.
But he certainly should get scrutiny if it don't work. Mm-hmm. If it don't work for him, because he did push for the trade. He pushed for it, like he just didn't want the media backlash about it. So this new era now, man, it's crazy. And once Kyrie left Brooklyn, it's reports that, he was supposed to, he stay in Brooklyn, but ultimately he wanted out. He wanted to go to Phoenix, and he tried to get to Phoenix early in the season. So,
do you think that Kyrie going to Dallas was a mistake?
On whose part?
On Kyrie's part.
I don't think so. Given everything that happened in Brooklyn, they didn't make him feel like they wanted him there. In terms, they wanted his talent there. They wanted what he could bring on the court. But him as a person, they didn't want to do all of that.
But why Dallas, though? You think he could went to a different team? Or
it's a good question. I mean, there are teams that can always take a talent like him. I could see him in Miami, like relieving Kyle Lowry of his duties. Mm-hmm. I could see him in a situation like that.
Do you think he could have picked a team that was in better contention for a championship?
I don't know who else would have given him the space to be fully who he is. I'm talking about just on the court and allow him to be that player. I don't know. That's a good question. What do you think?
I don't know. I just feel like Dallas is just like, what for? Unless you're... I feel like these guys that's been the superstars in the league now are getting to a point where it's like it's almost over. Like in a way, like I don't know. I'm not trying to say they're old, but they're not young anymore. Yeah. So if you're gonna go to a different team, put yourself in a position to really win.
Yeah. But you know what? I look at Kyrie. Kyrie still got some time left for me. He's in his prime. He's only 30. He only 30. He just been all over the place last 2 or 3 years or 4 years. Boston, Brooklyn. Now he with Dallas. But I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of teams would love to have him.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of would they allow him to be him, and what role will he fully play on that team. I feel like he's a really, really, really good number 2 option. I feel like on any given night when he's hot, he is the number 1 option.